I'll be one of the first people to tell you this is by far one of the worst basketball games Caitlin Clark has played in. She was simply non-existent, and she couldn't find a shot. Indiana Fever did not look right tonight.
The lights were bright, the moment felt big, and all signs pointed toward redemption, until it didn't. What started as a promising bounce-back opportunity for the Indiana Fever quickly turned into a full-blown basketball nightmare. The Golden State Valkyries, a so-called team of misfits, stomped into the spotlight and embarrassed the Fever on national TV. And let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't just a loss. It was a meltdown, a blueprint of what not to do when you're branding yourself as the future of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark looked gassed, the bench was non-existent, and the coaching staff? Missing in action, literally and figuratively. Into the wreckage. Let's be clear. This was more than just a bad game. This was an unraveling, one that exposed deeper cracks in the Fever's foundation. Fatigue, poor roster decisions, a vanishing coaching presence, and an alarming over-reliance on Clark are just the tip of the iceberg. And fans? They're not just upset, they're furious, confused, and calling for heads to roll. Because if this is what the Fever look like with their number one pick on the floor, what happens when she's not? If you're just as shocked by what you saw, or if you saw it coming and want to say, "Told you so," you've come to the right place. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your hottest take, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss the drama, the breakdowns, and yes, the clapbacks. Let's unpack this chaos. Caitlin Clark looked human, and that's a problem. Let's not pretend it wasn't obvious. Caitlin Clark didn't have her legs. She came out of the gate with her usual vision and court awareness, dishing out assists and moving the ball well, but by the end of the first quarter, she was gasping. You could see it in her body language. She wasn't waving off teammates because she was locked in. She was trying to survive. From the second quarter on, she started deferring. Passes got slower. Cuts got shorter. Her eyes? Tired. She was drained, and the Valkyries smelled. And here's the thing. Clark still almost posted a triple-double, but this isn't college anymore. Moral victories don't win championships, and being almost great doesn't fly when you're the face of a franchise. She shot poorly, turned the ball over, and struggled to recover on defense. She wasn't just missing shots. She couldn't buy one. And when your best player looks that cooked barely 15 minutes in, that's a red flag for your conditioning, rotation strategy, and schedule management.
Blazers turn it over 14 times. Carmelo, one dribble pull up, sticks up.
You want a hot take? Here it is. If Clark is the WNBA's Carmelo Anthony, high volume, highlight reel, but no rings, then the Fever better start building a better team around her now. Because she can't do it alone. And when she's off, this team has no plan B. Bench? What bench?
Over and saves the day. Amir with
the Indiana Fever didn't just lose this game. They were drowned by Golden State's bench, players that most casual fans probably couldn't even name. While Clark sat trying to catch her breath, the Valkyries threw out lineup after lineup of fresh legs, hungry defenders, and shooters who played like their careers depended on every possession. And honestly, that's because they did. Every single one of these Valkyries was left unprotected in the expansion draft. They play with a chip, and against Indiana, they played with fire. Meanwhile, Indiana's bench looked like it was stuck in quicksand. No energy, no hustle, no urgency. It was McDonald. They need speed, they need attitude, they need someone who's not afraid to dive on the floor or pick up full court. Right now, they've got aging veterans and zero spark. Fever management made a gamble in free agency, choosing experience over youth. That decision is starting to backfire in real time. While other teams run circles with young athletic talent off the bench, Indiana's rotations feel like molasses. And no matter how good your starters are, If your bench gives up 15-point swings, you're going nowhere in this league. Coaching chaos or convenient excuse.
Okay, and that starts every single day in what we do right here with each other, for each other. Right, excited about the opportunity we have. Starts right now. Hey, wait till we get the outlet. Wait till we get the outlet, go.
Let's address the elephant in the room. Head coach Stephanie White was absent, and while her reason is reportedly personal and completely understandable, her absence could not have come at a worse time. After a dramatic, exhausting showdown against the Connecticut Sun, what the Fever needed was a stabilizing presence. Instead, they got chaos. Austin Kelly filled in, but something was clearly off. The rotations were slow. Adjustments, non-existent. Timeouts came late. This team looked lost. You can't lead a locker room through Zoom. And as much as fans appreciate what White brings to the table, the reality is that this team's identity can't be that fragile. One missing coach should not unravel the entire system. That's a depth issue. At the coaching level, you've got to be able to pivot. You've got to inspire. Kelly did what he could, but there was no fire, no direction. Not when the game started turning. So now the questions start. How long will White be out? What's the contingency plan? Is this staff really ready for the heat of a playoff chase? Because if they can't hold things down during a 2-day West Coast trip, how are they going to handle a 5-game postseason series? The Valkyries are for real, and that should terrify the league.
She was huge. She was huge. I got on her a little bit, but, she took that and she used it in the right way. And, if it wasn't for her, that block when I got drove by.
Let's flip it for a second. The Golden State Valkyries? These women came to play. No star player, no established identity, no expectations, and yet they've got the same record as the Fever. Let that sink in. They don't even have a franchise face, but they've got chemistry, grit, and something the Fever didn't show, urgency.
You're watching film. What is your message to your team about slowing her down?
Yeah, obviously you got to pick her up higher. She shoots from the logo, so you can't pick her up.
What's scary is that this team isn't even relying on star power. They're doing it with depth, with effort, with attitude. Kate Martin played with a chip the size of Oakland, and let's not ignore the eerie coincidence. Clark's worst games have come against teams with Martin in the lineup. Whether it's a friendly rivalry or a matchup nightmare, it's a pattern worth tracking. They call it Valhalla in Golden State, but last night it was Ballhalla for the Fever. The crowd was ruthless. Every miss, every turnover, every air ball was met with roars. That wasn't just a home game, that was a fever dream in reverse. And the Valkyries, they're laughing all the way up the standings. The fatigue factor. No one wants to talk about.
Minnesota in the Commissioner Cup final July 1st. As Boston catches and scores and Indiana retakes the lead.
How did Caitlin...
This was Indiana's third game in 5 days. That's brutal, especially when you're jetting across time zones, dealing with late-night tips and recovering from the most viral game of the season against the Sun. That game was emotional warfare. Physical, dramatic, controversial. It went global. And that type of spotlight drains you whether you admit it or not. By the time Indiana...
added on the defense end, her length just...
He's over 2 to start her evening. On the drive, Clark, no good.
By the time Indiana hit the floor against Golden State, they weren't just tired, they were emotionally cooked. This was a team coming down from an adrenaline high, and it showed. The sluggish rotations, the flat-footed defense, the missed box-outs, those aren't just tactical issues, that's fatigue. And yes, it's part of the game, but you'd expect a championship-minded team to manage that better.
We won't get this again. There's no saving. There's no conserving. You leave everything that you have out there on the floor.
The front office should have known this was coming. Clark needed rest. The bench needed reinforcements. Instead, they rolled into the Bay and got steamrolled. Schedule losses happen, but this was more than that. This was mismanagement. Plain and simple. Caitlin Clark's kryptonite is being overused. We've said it before, but it's time to scream it louder. Caitlin Clark is doing too much, and it's by design. The Fever run through her like she's LeBron in 2007, and that's not a sustainable model. When she has her groove, sure, it's electric, but when she's tired or out of rhythm, the whole team collapses like a house of cards. Opposing teams know it now. They load up on her early. They make her work on defense. They run doubles the moment she crosses half court. And when she starts to struggle, the rest of the Fever go ice cold. It's like watching a band that forgets how to play without the lead singer.
It's early in training, so it's really exciting for me. Get to know my teammates better, my coaching staff's better.
If Indiana wants to compete long-term, they need more than just Clark highlights. They need a system that survives when she's not at 100%. Right now, it's Clark or bust, and every loss makes that more obvious. Turner needs to go, and Ari needs to come back.
I believe the last game played in WNBA was against the Fever, so what was it like to be a part of the team and also just being ready, as they say, to be a pro and go out there and perform?
Tiana Jackson, gone. Ari McDonald, gone. The Fever made some head-scratching roster decisions this offseason, prioritizing older, slower veterans over speed and athleticism, and it's killing them. Lexi Hull and Christy Wallace can't keep up with opposing guards, and when Clark sits, there's no true point guard to run the show. Meanwhile, McDonald is sitting out there, full of fire, full of energy, and the exact kind of spark plug this roster desperately lacks. Fans are practically begging the front office to fix the mistake and bring her back. And Turner? It might be time. She's not giving them anything impactful, and her minutes are just clogging the rotation. If Indiana's serious about the playoffs, the time to act is now. This roster needs tweaking, urgently. The Fever are too inconsistent to be taken seriously.
I think just finally being aggressive. It's what everybody on the team, the coaches, ask of me. And so I just got to make sure that I'm making a concerted effort every time to make sure that people are having a guard.
One night, they're going toe-to-toe with title contenders. The next, they look like a lottery team. That's the Fever right now, a walking contradiction. You can blame youth, you can blame injuries, but eventually you have to look in the mirror and ask, who are we? Because championship teams don't implode like this. They don't let bench warmers run them off the floor. They don't show up with no legs and no fight. And they definitely don't treat games like practice runs just 12 games into the season. Fans are tired of the roller coaster. One week, it's title hopes. The next, it's trade machine season. It's a wake-up call. Let's stop sugarcoating. This wasn't just a bad game. It was an alarm bell. The Fever have real issues: depth, rotations, over-reliance, and questionable coaching availability. And while it's still early in the season, problems like these don't solve themselves. They snowball. The rest of the league is watching. They saw Clark struggle. They saw how easy it was to turn a tight game into a blowout. You can bet every scout is circling that tape. Indiana can either treat this loss as a lesson or watch it become a trend. What happens next will define the season. The good news? There's still time. The Fever face Las Vegas next, and all eyes will be on how they respond. If they come out with energy, focus, and fire, this Golden State game becomes a footnote. If they come out flat, panic mode. Fans are watching, analysts are watching, and the league is watching. The Fever don't need a win. They need a statement. This next game will show us who they really are. Contenders or pretenders, no more middle ground. This ain't over. The Valkyries exposed Indiana's flaws, but that doesn't mean the season's a wash. The Fever still have Clark. They still have potential. But potential means nothing if it's not realized. They've got to regroup. They've got to get smarter. And they've got to get tougher, mentally and physically. This loss hurt. It should. Now it's about what comes next. Will Indiana fold, or will they fight back? Because make no mistake, the rest of the W is coming for them. All right. If you've got thoughts, takes, or theories, let's hear it. Drop a comment below, like this video, and hit subscribe so you never miss a moment of the madness. This season just got real.